Shemai, Prynawn da. Welcome to the Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council Cabinet meeting on the Wednesday, the 13th of September 2023. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and may be broadcast via the authority's internet site. The images and sound recording may also be used for training purposes within the authority. Item 1, have you got any apologies for absence? Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. Councillor Hughes?
Yes, item number 5, Chair. I in receipt of the service myself, so I'd be declaring interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. And again, Monitoring Officer, if you can record, I'd be declaring interest on that item as well. So thank you. So item 3 of the agenda is the Capital Monitoring Report. I believe Councillor Barry's taking this.
Thank you, Chair. Capital Budget Monitoring 2023-24 Q1 is for the period as at the 30th of June 2023 for both core and externally funded capital projects. Projected spend for the financial year 2023-24. There is a £2,000 overspend in relation to our core funded projects, detailed in Appendix 1, along with the detail of the core funding available. There is no variance in relation to our externally funded projects, detailed in Appendix 2. Core capital programme for this financial year should see this administration spend £43.512 million. The externally grant funded projects are profiled at £36.569 million for the financial year 23-24. Amendments to the core funded projects are outlined at Appendix 1 and detailed at Appendix 3, with the strangely vacant Appendix 4, where we would normally see any major variances within our core funded projects. During the quarter, an additional £33.17 million was identified for new externally grant funded schemes and was secured and is outlined in Appendix 5. I'll take the recommendations, Chair, at 2.1 to 2.3. 2.1, the Q1 Capital Monitoring Report for 23-24 be noted. 2.2, the budget amendments for core funded projects as outlined at 4.1 be approved. And 2.3, variances to the budgets as per paragraph 4.2 be noted. I move the report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Councillor Hughes?
I'd like the second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Have we got any questions? No. Any comments? No. Let's take it to the vote then, please.
Oh, are we not?
What was the answer?
The way that's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much. Very high tech. Yeah. Good Councillor Hughes shaking his head.
It's so high tech.
Yes. Item 4 of the agenda is the revenue budget monitoring for 23-24 Q1, and again it's Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Chair. Revenue budget monitoring 23-24 Q1. We have our projected revenue outturn at the end of Q1 as at the 30th of June 2023, which stands projected for the financial year 23-24 to be net revenue deficit of 382,000. Consider the budget board on the 26th of July this year and detailed here on Appendix 1, page 20 of your papers. This compares with £1.35 million predicted deficit this time last year, with all of the economic and political turmoil that went with that. This quarter's budget environments are detailed at Appendix 2, page 21, followed by more detailed analysis of the major variances considered at Appendix 3, pages 3 to 18, and outlined at Section 5 with the various surpluses and transfers focusing on future expected pressures. We continue to monitor our financial position very carefully, as we have in previous years. Interest rates are about to peak to control a stubbornly high but decreasing inflation rate, now sitting at 6.8% in the 12 months to July, down from 7.9% in June and down from a recent peak of 11.1 in October 22. The interest rate is already 5.2%. Current forecast by economists and the markets predict the UK interest rates are expected to peak at between 5.75 and 6% by the end of 2023 or the start of 24, and not expected to fall until mid-24 and are likely to fall to around 4.5% by 2026. Relevant because these figures affect our in-year pressures and our capital borrowing requirement, amongst other things. Recommendations 2.1 to 2.3. 2.1, the revenue budget monitoring report for the 23-24 financial year based on the first quarter projections be accepted. 2.2, budget variance outlined in Appendix 2 be approved. And 2.3, managers to urgently address projected budget deficits within their respective service areas, identifying all possible remedial measures to offset predicted deficits be approved. I move the report, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. I believe Councillor Jones is seconding the motion. Thank you, Councillor Jones. Have we got any questions? No? Any comments? No, just a quick one for me then, just to say, I'd like to thank the officers and Councillor Barry for really getting to grips with our finances through the first quarter. Really positive performance, just shows that we're in safe hands. So, well done, everybody. So, can we take that to the vote then?
Sure. It's unanimous. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so item 5, myself and Councillor Hughes will have to leave the room. Councillor Barry?
Yeah, Chair. Okay. So the food service plan 2023-24, I believe Michelle Simmons is taking the report.
Thank you. Yes, so the Food Service Plan 2023-2024 report author Sian James, who joins us in the chamber. The summary of the report. The Food Standards Agency, FSA, framework agreement sets out what the FSA expects from local authorities in their delivery of official controls on food law. It includes the requirement to prepare a statutory food service plan and describes in detail which areas of the service should be covered by the plan. The aim of the food service plan is to prevent food poisoning, foodborne and waterborne illnesses by helping to ensure that food and drink intended for sale for human consumption is produced, stored, distributed, handled and consumed within the county borough without risk to the health and safety of the consumer. The Food Service Plan 23-24 describes how the service is discharged and details the numbers, types and priority ratings for the county borough's food premises. The frequency of the planned interventions, sampling programmes, health promotion activities, reactive work including responding to food complaints, food hazard warnings and investigation of infectious diseases. As well as containing data from last year's financial year, the plan contains information on proposals for undertaking duties in 23-24. The Food Standards Agency recognised the impact of the pandemic and developed a recovery plan to assist local authorities in prioritising work. This recovery plan ended on the 31st of March 23. Whilst Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council's environmental health team met each of the milestones within the recovery plan, lower risk premises were not included in the plan. There is therefore a backlog of lower risk premises to be inspected over the next few years. Key challenges for this year ahead in implementing this food service plan include the development of new staff to ensure they are competent in the delivery of this plan. The report highlights the shortfall in resources to deliver the plan. This has been compounded by a failure to attract a suitable candidate to fill in an existing vacant post. Resources required to develop skills for officers on food standards function. The implementation of additional requirements on food labelling of pre-packed for direct sale foods brought in from the 1st of October 2021, otherwise known as Natasha's Law. Inspections are on average taking longer due to the support required for the businesses in complying with this new legislation. greater diligence on behalf of officers in considering origins of imported food and potential risks with central government's postponement and planned controls for goods imported from the EU. The retention and recruitment of staff, and since the pandemic, inspections have generally taken longer to complete as standards have dropped and officers spend more time in enforcing and supporting businesses to comply with the law. The recommendations that 2.1, the food service plan for 23-24 be approved. With 2.2, the recognition that environmental health may not be able to deliver the plan given the shortfall in resources to be noted. I move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Simmons. Do you have a seconder?
Second that, please, Vice Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. Any questions? No, I have one, if that's okay. In relation to recommendation 2, do we have a rationale behind the statement in recommendation 2, and is there any mitigation in place to ensure that we can correct that?
If I can ask Sian to take that question, please.
Yes, thank you. So a post became vacant back in May of this year, which was actually a 28-hour vacancy. And there was a recognition that there was a shortfall in the resources in delivering this plan. So we are drawing down on an earmarked reserve for the first 2 years. However, we have now been out, I think it's 4 times to advertise, and those we have gone back on one applicant that was interested but never put an application in to seek sort of an explanation as to why, and it was clear that a drop in the contract to 28 hours after 2 years wasn't something that could be taken forward, and it's probably detracting potential applicants, and that's the difficulty that we have. It's hoped that we're able to put in a growth bid in the autumn in that cycle, but whether that will be successful, I don't know.
So we've identified the potential problems.
Yeah.
And now it's just down to the budget setting process, presumably, and whether we can sort of accommodate that. But it looks like it's such an essential part of it.
Yeah, excuse me. Only to say that obviously availability of resources is a problem right across Wales at the moment. So as within Solace, each chief exec takes a range of portfolios, and I'm the liaison for Public Protection Wales, so DPPW, Directors of Public Protection Wales. And funnily enough, I've had a request to meet Louise, who's the chair of that, next week to discuss the issues to raise with Solace, so the ongoing problems of recruitment pipeline, and obviously all the legislative changes that come in, an impact from central government. Obviously, the difficulty is the system is not coping because we haven't got the pipeline of staff coming into we've got people retiring left, right and centre, and there's not new staff coming in, and it's the major problem, isn't it, Sian? So we are not alone in having issues with this, but obviously collectively we're going to try and see what we can do to resolve it, but each authority needs to do what we can for now, I think.
That's great, thanks, Al. It's not unique to us, as you say, but we'll wait and see what comes out of a few conversations at that level to see if we can put some sort of further mitigation in. Any other questions? No. Any comments? Nope. Do you want to take that to the vote then? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, item 6, the appointment of proper officers for communal disease control. To consider the report of the Deputy Chief Executive, Councillor Michelle Simmons.
Thank you, Chair. So the appointment of proper officers for communicable disease control. Again, report author Sian James, who joins us in the chamber. Under the Public Health Control of Diseases Act 1984, as amended by the Health and Social Care Act 2008, and regulations made under the 1984 Act and pursuant to Section 113 of the Local Government Act 1972, each unitary authority must have an appointed proper officer to deal with incidents of communicable disease. Due to our experiences with COVID-19, we are fully aware of the importance of these appointments and for this report being brought to Cabinet. The summary of the report to update arrangements for the appointment of proper officers within the management of cases of infectious disease within the community. The recommendation that the following named consultants in communicable disease control and consultants in health protection be formally appointed as proper officers be approved. And I won't read the list of names out if that's okay. I move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Simmons. Have we got a seconder?
Happy to second.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Any questions? Any comments? Councillor Hughes.
You can see how important this report is, especially what we've just been through in the last few years. So I'm happy this report to come. Thank you, Chair.
Totally agree, yeah, Councillor Hughes. Shall we take that to the vote then? Mouse carried. Item 7 of the agenda is the Cwmtaf Youth Offending Service Annual Report for 22-23. To consider the report of the Chief Officer for Social Services, Councillor Jenkins.
And 22. Oh, sorry. Okay, thanks. This is Cwmtaf Youth Offending Service Annual Report 2022 to 2023, and the report author is Lyndon Lewis. Summary report. Purpose of this report is to provide an update on the work of the Cwmtaf Youth Offending Service, YOS, for 2022 to 2023. This includes an update on current service delivery following the restructure of the service in August 2021. And we recommendation that the information contained within the report be noted. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Jenkins. Have you got a second there?
I'd like to second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Have you got any questions? Any comments? No, just one for me before we go to the vote. Just say how important this service is within the borough. We know there has been some antisocial issues with some of our youths, and we need this kind of service, a proactive service, to help these young people change their ways and lives. So can we take that to the vote then, please?
Unanimous.
That's unanimous. Item 8 is an information report on the role and membership of the Cwmtaf Offender Management Board. And item 9 is again an information report on the regionalisation of Sport Wales funding. So if I can bring the Cabinet meeting to an end. Thank you all.